Hey, what's up guys? Sean here with BlueRidgeSilverhound. Today in this video, we're going to take a look at 5 US cents pennies you need to buy before they get pricey. Now, these are not really specific type of coins. However, they are going to be specific maybe type of dates that grade a certain way. That are beginning to get more attention on the secondary market. What I mean by that is we're beginning to see more of these coins uptick in value, and it couldn't be any more apparent within the last 24 months as people are kind of jumping into the hobby for a number of reasons, whether it's to, really scoop up a coin that fits well in a typeset, or perhaps maybe as an investment opportunity. We're beginning to see, kind of like little mini buyouts here and there for specific grades of these coins. And it's always appropriate to know exactly what kind of like that fine line is between dreck, is what I like to call it, coins that generally are going to be readily available in a certain grade, or maybe they're damaged or they're graded details, that sort of thing. Maybe you want to try and avoid those and aim for something that's going to go a lot further for your money. All right, so I think one of the first things that we all have to kind of consider is budget. What exactly is going to be your budget? Is it a monthly budget? Is it a weekly budget? Is it a certain amount of money that you have just in this moment of time? Now, I can't speak for everyone, but I do know that when it comes to quality, you spend the most amount of money that you're able to provide to that purchase that's within your budget. Now, as you can see here, I have $100. So we're going to work off, for the sake of this video, $100 budget. Okay, it could be a little bit less, it could be a little bit more, but the average total kind of like amount of money we're looking at for per coin is going to be $100. And this is kind of like the budget, especially on in copper. The penny denomination itself is kind of like a kind of a line drawn in the sand where, once you cross over it, these are going to be coins that are going to be pursued a lot quicker, a lot faster, a lot more furious on the secondary market than some of those lower graded coins. So obviously, if you're working within like $100, or kind of within earshot of this particular budget, this is going to be a wise choice when it comes to buying coins. Now, again, there goes that lingering kind of idea that, well, I'd rather, buy quantity than quality. Well, you could certainly do that, but being able to recoup the money later on in life when you decide, hey, coin collecting is not for me anymore, I want to get out of it and protect my investment. And the only way you can do that is by buying quality coins. So, as you guys know, in this video, we're going to be looking at a long range of various US penny coins, ranging from earlier large cents to something that's a little bit more modern in the Lincoln cents. But I'm also considering doing the same type of video for nickels, dimes, quarters, and possibly half dollars as well. I think that's going to be a really good show. Half dollars is popular because of their size. And, you could get something really affordable that's going to be almost 200 years old and then feel really good about it at the end of the day. All right, so we're going to start it off at the most earliest of coins to consider. And, this may seem like an impossible dream, but let's go ahead and talk a little bit about draped head large cents. Now, there's a few dates that are going to be quite the showstopper in here. So, my personal, I guess, favorites within the draped head series is going to be 1802 and 1803. They're a little bit more readily available, and it's a series where you can't really go fancy on the grading aspect of it, but you could certainly try and pursue coins that are problem-free. That's going to be important. Here's an image of an 1803 draped head or draped bust large cent. It's in pretty good shape. This particular coin right here grades out VG8 details. Now, The one thing that you'll notice on here, and this is where a lot of the excitement comes into play. First of all, it's details because it's burnished, whatever that means. But it's obviously damaged in some way, although the coin looks pretty honest. And if it were a raw coin, I wouldn't, feel sad owning this in my collection. However, this one is noted as being burnished, which is a type of damage. But when you get into these earlier draped bust series of coins, there's a lot of varieties. In particular, Sheldon, the main attributor for large cents, going all the way back into like the flowing hair and all that stuff. There's a lot of rarities to be found, and sometimes you'll have that happy mistake where you accidentally come across a coin that's priced accordingly, like in this case, this particular coin, because it is details in a VG8, did sell for about $76. So that seems very reasonable for a coin that has quite a bit of meat on as far as details on the coin. But as you can see, this is attributed as Sheldon 253. I don't quite know what the rarity is with that one. They go by the rarity scale of R1 to R9, I believe. Which R9, you have coins that there's only maybe one or two in existence at that rarity. But this one is the small date, small fraction type of coin. Going back to this previous picture, you could see the fraction on the reverse underneath the wreath area is what's noted on there. Small date, there is a large date type of this one. I've seen it before. Really not more expensive for the large date, but that's something to keep in mind. So $76 seems like a really good deal. Again, we're trying to avoid details graded coins, but this one as a typeset coin for a little bit lesser expensive type of budget would work right ideally in someone's wheelhouse for that inexpensive typeset they're trying to put together. All right, so we're getting into more problem-free coins. Here's an 1802 Draped bust. So in this particular case, the coin exhibits no sort of damage other than just regular circulation wear, which is quite normal for these coins. One of the common things you'll encounter as far as damage on these earlier coins is going to be corrosion and environmental damage. Corrosion, can be a byproduct of environmental damage. Maybe the coin was in the ground. For those of you on the East Coast, you guys are still pulling these things out of like cornfields and stuff. So a lot of those coins, because of the acidity of the ground in the areas on the East Coast, you're going to get a lot of corrosion. Now, finding true, honest examples like this NGC graded piece right here can be a little bit tough. Plus, you also have to kind of accept the fact that a lot of the details are going to be pretty well worn, but as long as you have things like the date and you're able to legibly read it, you have a lot of the letters and stuff that's easily readable, like Liberty is a big one. The United States of America on the reverse, that fraction under the wreath, and then, to an extent, 1 cent right in the middle of the wreath. That's going to be a very attractive coin. Now, this one right here is an AG3 brown. And this one is actually quite affordable, and it busts that $100 budget by a huge mile at only $46. Now keep in mind, every single coin on this list was sold on Great Collections. I was trying to figure out where's the best kind of like centralized marketplace where I could find all these coins for you guys to examine. And furthermore, if you wanted to double check and audit my information I'm giving you, you could certainly go on their website, check out the auction archives, and see for yourself where you're at there. But as far as this video is concerned, you're going to get kind of that unbiased, this is what we're looking at. These are going to be the grades that are going to be pursued for years to come. Now, because this is an AG3, obviously this is the lower end of the totem pole, but keep in mind, don't underestimate the power of a problem-free early copper. These things in any grade, especially if you're able to find that rarity S4, S5, and up, where there's only maybe less than 10 of them available of that variety, man, you're going to be picking up a coin for $46. And if it's like an R6, that's a coin that you could flip for easily $1,000. Okay, even in this condition. And the last Draped bust coin that I wanted to, really share with you is this one. This is exciting. This is an exciting piece. Yeah, this was graded as a problem-free coin. Graders of these type of coins, especially through PCGS and NGC, will sometimes make concessions based off of the type of detail that's available. This one looks and appears to have a little bit of dirt or something on the reverse of the coin. They're not going to knock that coin down that much. They'll keep it problem-free, but they might, what they call net grade it. So if they see the coin as maybe a fine 12, and it's got some, maybe just a little spot of corrosion, or maybe some dirt or gunk on the reverse, they'll net grade it to a VG8. All right, so this is just a fantastic coin here. It's an 1807 over 6 variety. Yes, you heard that right. This is an overdate. And there's a number of these that can be found on the Draped Bust series of coins. Another thing that I do love about this coin is that you have some hair detail. You have a little bit more hair detail on this coin than we did on the 1803 and the 1802 that we saw before. You're also able to see more of the details in the reef. You could see the little berries. You could read everything. Everything's legible on the coin. And this one right here is a good 6, which is a solid grade. Now keep in mind, once you get beyond good grades, problem-free of any Draped Bust large set, the prices double, all right? For instance, this coin here, this 1807 over 6, sold for $94.50. By the way, a lot of these sales are within the last 12 months. So these are recent, today's activity type of sales. A VG8 of this same coin will probably end up going for about $175 to $225, which is well over our $100 budget. Now, if your budget maybe is $250 a month for maybe a singular coin or a couple coins, that's going to be a lot better of a budget to be able to afford coins that will exhibit much more detail, all right? And especially with these earlier colonial, or what they like to call federal age of coins, that's important. That's going to constantly be a coin that is not only going to dry up in the marketplace, which I've seen. I mean, VG8s and fine 12s are pretty tough. Maybe a VG10 also is another tough date to find at a reasonable price. They seem to be going up every single month because the market doesn't have a whole bunch of them out there. But this is a great coin, a great grade to invest in while they're still out there, and keep in mind, problem-free. All right, so here's one of my favorite series. Now, as you can tell, we jumped a whole other series, and it's a very short series. It's the classic head large cents, and because of how rare those particular coins are to find problem-free, we're not going to talk about it in this video. Oftentimes, you're not going to be able to afford a problem-free example for $100. You're going to be looking easily $250 and up for a coin that maybe grades out a good 6, maybe a VG8. But we're going to go ahead and skip right on to this series here. One of my favorites. This is what they call the Matron head series of cents. And it goes from, it's actually quite a long series. This goes from 1817, I believe, or maybe 1816. There wasn't anything produced in 1815. 1814 was the last year of the classic head. And then 1816 is the first year of the Matron head. Now, obviously, there's going to be some of those earlier dates of Matron heads that you need to stay away from, only because they are quite expensive. You'll get into grades of maybe a fine or VF. That'll command about $200 pretty easily on some of those earlier dates. However, what we have here is an 1822. This is an actually stunning coin with loads of detail. You see going up 15 years from that Draped Bust series to this, just how much more coin that you can afford for around the $100 price tag. 1822 matron head scent right here. Has tons of hair detail. You could see Liberty right on that crown Lady Liberty's wearing. Lots of detail on the reverse, the wreath. You could clearly define just the texturing of the leaves and the berries and all that stuff. It says United States of America on there as well. Just a beautiful coin. This one grades out VF20, which I think is probably undergraded for what we're getting here. This looks more like a VF30. So also keep that in mind. If you're able to snipe a coin that you feel might be a little bit undergraded, that could possibly be a really good score. This particular coin right here, get this, sold for only $113.30. It feels almost like highway robbery when you're able to go out into the marketplace and buy something like this. That is, as of this year, 200 years old. You're getting a 200-year-old coin for just over $100. It just doesn't seem fair. And this is a coin, again, in this particular grade, that is a constant target because of its price point for buyouts. I've seen it before in cap bus half dollars, where at times there were these VF 20, 25 common date bust half dollars that were selling for around $60 to $75. They all got bought out, and then they shot up over $100 virtually overnight. But this is going to be another coin that I think somewhere down the line, someone's going to pay attention to these, along with a few other different series that are kind of like in that same region of grade. But this is just a stunning coin, and for just over $100, you could get something like this. Here's another one. Now, this one is phenomenal. This one has just as much detail, if not more, than the previous 1822 example that we saw before it. However, this is another overdate. This is an 1820 over 19. Another matron head. All right, as you can see, lots of detail on this one. You could see the overdate. You could see the 1 right underneath the 2 in the date. This is a really cool coin. I actually own one of these myself. It's right around the same grade too. I mean, yeah, it's pretty phenomenal when you're able to pick up just really early kind of like varieties that you see in the Red Book for a song. This particular coin right here is graded through ICG. Now, there are people that say, well, I don't like ICG because they're not a top 3 grader. Well, they are a grader, and some would say they grade a little bit more strict compared to some other grading companies. VF20, I tell you what, this coin looks more like a VF30, VF35 all day long with the amount of hair detail, and you see more of the word Liberty on that crown. This particular coin right here, if you stretch your budget a little bit more, you're at $146.25 is what this one sold for. I would imagine that this same coin in a PCGS holder probably would be selling for about $200. Again, it's recognizing the opportunities to pick up these market acceptable coins, even if they're in an annex holder or ICG or something to that effect. Pick them up. These are going to be absolutely popular for years to come. And then the final matron head, okay? Let's not forget, the affordability factor really kind of boils down to the early 1830s. 1830 all the way up to 1837, the final year of the matron head, where, you know, toward the latter part of those dates, you have some pretty funky varieties. You had a silly head, a booby head, a 1837 with the head of 1838. There's a lot of very cool, quirky type of varieties and head types that you could get from the 1830s of this particular series. But go ahead and take a look at this coin. Just like the others, loads of detail. This is a coin that if you had paid $100 for, it would be a huge win, just based off of the merits of the overall appearance of the coin. You have a lot of really cool stuff. There's some repunch dates that you could find in this particular series. You know, that'd be a huge cherry pick if you did. This one right here, by the way, is the large letters reverse. So United States of America has a little bit larger type style. All right, so that's going to be something to keep an eye out for. There's also a small letters type of the 1830 Matron head. This particular one, VF20 as well. Again, it's perfect for the grade. This one shows a little bit more wear on like the cheek and the hair area compared to the previous two coins. Get this, talk about well within budget. $97.88 is what this one sold for on Great Collections. So just a really fantastic looking coin. This one sold, I believe, a few days ago. So, you know, if you were in the market, you could have bought this one for under a C note. All right, so we're going to jump into the last large cent series of the video, and that's going to be the braided hair. This is, as far as affordability, going to be the one series where you feel like you're getting like a lot of something for next to nothing. I'm telling you, it's kind of like, again, highway robbery. You feel like you're getting just a really steal of a deal. So this is an 1855 braided hair. This is more of one of the later dates. The last date of the braided hair series is 1857 before it goes into the smaller size cents. This one also has the slanted fives variety. So it's got the slanted fives in the date. There's also upright fives. We actually have an example of one of those here in this video. But this one right here, yeah, the patina is a little bit darker. That's just really a matter of the level of oxidation that this coin had received over many, many decades of either storage or use. The coin exhibits just loads of detail. You could see the little beads in the hair. You could see the hair strands. I mean, these are all important things when it comes to evaluating a large cent. This one right here, Annex AU50, problem-free. You want to stay within problem-free. And for the budget, especially on some of the later dates, like 1845 to 1856, try and aim for an about uncirculated grade. There are XFs that'll work out just as well, and you could probably cherry pick one with like a repunch date or a misplaced date, and those would be awesome. But AU50 is kind of like that target grade that you want to aim for, and that's going to be based off of popularity. That's going to be based off of appreciation over time. This is just a grade that I think that we're going to see less of as time goes on. Now, this particular coin right here is sold for $102.24. That seems like a really good deal for something like this. Speaking of which, this is probably a coin that that would suit a lot of you just fine. You know, it's got that nice chocolate brown patina to it, which is very normal. I mean, this coin, yeah, did see some use in circulation, but at the same time, you know, it's got just a whole other level of detail that normally you probably don't see on anything else of the same kind of like age range, like 170 years back. This is an 1856 braided hair. This one is, of course, the upright 5. You can see the 5 in the date. The date looks a little bit weakly struck, but I'm telling you guys, 1855 and 56 were notorious of some weakness in the date and some of the letters. That's due mostly by either a strike issue or clogged eyes. So that was a pretty common occurrence on these particular two dates. This one right here grades out AU50 brown through NGC. Of course, it says upright 5 in the date or in the label attribution. And this one sold for $112.50. Okay, again, we're staying around that $100 budget. Now this one is awesome. 1845. It's a very early date, and 1845 is a common date for repunch dates. All right, there's a multitude of them that you have to be on the lookout for, and believe it or not, you'll come across them every so often. But just look at the level of detail and the lack of wear on this coin. I think you guys will agree with me that this is a great type piece. It keeps you out of like the common dates of the 1850s. And it entrenches you in a date that you just normally don't see with this level of detail. This one is in an old Annex soap bar slab. This one graded out AU50. I'm kind of a fan of these older Annex slabs. Not a fan of the yellow and the weird kind of like patterns that they're using on the newer slabs. I like these ones a lot better. And again, they call these original holders from like 15, 20 years ago. This particular coin right here sold for $127.76. I would sell some just cheap crap coins to be able to make up that extra $27 just so I can buy this. Because look at what you're getting. You're getting a lot for just a reasonable amount of money. And then finally, the last braided hair coin. This is an 1855 with upright fives. Okay, so we saw the slanted fives. Here's the upright version. Another fun coin. This particular example right here. Now, this one's an XF45. All right, so I threw in something a little bit different so that way you guys can see the difference of an AU50 to an XF45. The kind of like difference is minimal from one to the other. One will show a little bit more wear on there. But this is an upright 55 coin right here. Really neat variety. And it gets a little bit more affordable just with one grade point lower. $66.94 is what this one sold for. Just a truly remarkable coin. You could theoretically go with XF40 and 45 on all the other coins and dates and do just fine. You could afford probably multiples of these coins. Again, this is going to be a very attractive grade in this particular series that has the kind of like the makings of a buyout or, just a run up in price because it's a very attractive grade for a very early type. All right, now we're finally on to small cents. Now, we're not going to talk about flying eagles. Those, as far as the cost reasonable factorization in all this, is not. Okay? You're going to be easily, for a coin that probably grades like maybe VF30 or 35, and it's like, they're just okay. You're going to be looking at 150 plus on those. But this particular coin here, I mean, if you want something that's very impactful and you want something different, try and go for one of the coins from 1860 to 1864. And you're going to be looking for the Cupro or copper nickel composition coins. And these are what they refer to as white cents back in the day. And they're also quite a bit thicker. They're about 1.5 to 2 times as thick as the bronze compositions that were going to start in 1864. This one right here is a beauty. Just look at all the detail. This is also another date where there's a lot of snow varieties, repunch dates, and various other things, doubled dies. This one right here, you can see all the letters in Liberty on the headdress, and that's important. You want to be able to get a coin that is market acceptable but stays around the budget. This one right here, again, I wouldn't be upset to own this as part of my collection. I think this is a really good collectible piece. 1863 is the most common produced white cent out of the 5 years that they did make them. 1859, of course, is in there, but that is a incredibly expensive coin, even in AU condition. This one, like I had said, is AU 58 through NGC. And believe it or not, this is a coin that sold for only $104.62. AU 58 is a grade that in the hobby we refer to as either the everyman grade, which people do assemble full AU 58 like type sets and date sets of their favorite series. But in like silver dollars, they call this particular grade a slider. It's not quite mid-state, but it's pretty close. You still have a lot of luster, a lot of detail in this particular grade. Now, we can't talk Indian head cents without at least talking about one of the most important dates of pennies, and that's going to be this one here, 1908 S. This is the very first penny to feature a physical mint mark on the coin. So it's right on the reverse under the wreath. 1908S, yeah, believe it or not, this is on the list. This is a coin that realistically, in just the right grade, you could pick up for around $100. What I like about this particular coin, you have enough detail in the word Liberty on that headdress that you know what it is. But I also like the appearance. It's got some of that improper alloy woody texture on there. And that's really just an improper kind of mix of that tin to go along with the copper when they are producing the strips. But this coin is fantastic. This particular example is an XF45 brown. I mean, it's a coin with loads of detail, and it's very low mintage. It's just above what, 1 million or whatever it is. Let me double check here for a second. 1,115,000 1908 S's. Now talk about key. This is a really cool key date that you could pick up. This particular coin sold, get this, for $88. I mean, geez. I mean, what are you waiting for? I mean, if you're looking for a coin, and instead of buying just a lot of something, boy, pick up something like this. $88, and you have a coin that I would say you'd be proud to own in your collection. It'd be a great coin to just even talk about, like, you know, show your family members. This is the very first penny with an actual physical mint mark. And that, you know, the rest is ancient history. Just go ahead and explain away what you got. How about something that's really nice? Here's a 1909, the final year of the Indian head cent. Yeah, this coin is beautiful. It looks like it was just minted a few days ago. Now it looks like it oxidized just a hair on there. But this is just a 1909 Indian head cent. It's the final year. Believe it or not, it's a little bit low mintage kind of scarcity. 14 million of these were produced. Compared to, say, a 1907 where 108 million were produced. I mean, this is a pretty minute amount, given the circumstances. Yeah, I mean, why not go all the way? Mid-State 64 red brown. Now, a full red type of this coin will be pretty pricey. You're going to be looking at about $200 to $300 in a 64 red. But a red brown that looks almost red is the next best way to go. This one right here sold for $92.40. Again, another coin that I'm sure that a lot of you would be proud to own for under a C note. You know, it's just very impactful for your set. And if you're looking for something from the 19th century, how about this 1893? This one is also a mid-state. However, I think it's either red brown or full brown. You do have some of that mint red in the protected areas. This is a coin that didn't circulate at all, if maybe just a tiny smidge, and ended up in a collection or in a jewelry box, and it just oxidized over based off of its environment. But this one right here, Mid-State 64 brown. Boom. Very nice. Lots of detail. Beautiful earlier 19th century coin. You're probably thinking to yourself, man, that thing is expensive. No. $111.10 is what this one sold for. Proving yet again that with enough research, you could find that delineation of where coins get super cheap and super available to the grades that are, you know, a little bit more scarce. Maybe you only see one or two of them sold a week or less. And then those are the coins you go for. Again, it's about maximizing your budget and buying the finest coin that you can for the money. Just a different way of collecting. All right, finally, we're going to go ahead and end it on Lincolns. Now, these are all wheat cents, and these are all coins that a lot of you have seen, but you got to know the fine line. Again, what are going to be the coins that I should pick up? Should I settle for a lesser grade so that way I could buy something else? Or should I just go all out on my $100 budget and just get the best I can? Well, yeah, you're going to do the latter. This is a 1909. And yes, you do see the VDB initials. This is a coin that was widely hoarded when it first came out. Collectors in the early 20th century knew that this was going to be a popular coin. And sure enough, they saved it. So there were a lot of examples in mint state condition that were saved. This particular example is really nice. It's a pleasing looking coin that graded out mint state 65 red. Again, you know, a very, very popular type piece. It's got the VDB initials, which was only for 1 year. And to get it on this kind of, you know, appearance looking type of a coin, full red, just absolutely beautiful. I'd say that's a smart investment. At $110 is what this one sold for. You know, you can even go stretch to a mid-state 66. And you'd probably be looking at about double that price, $200. But it gets really, really expensive beyond that. Yeah, I mean, you guys wouldn't think that this one would be on the list, right? Well, it is. 1909S. Yeah, this is a quite a scarce date. Now, the only thing that it does not have is the VDB initials. That particular coin is not even near close to $100 on any grade. Even a details grade coin, you're going to be looking at $150 to $200 easy for something that's like bent with a hole or something to that effect. This one right here, just to let you guys know, very low mintage. 1.8 million of these were produced, which is a very, very scarce number. This one right here, you don't have to settle. How about a VF20, right? VF20 brown. You don't have to get into good or VG if you want to stay within budget. This one right here is sold for $121. You could probably do a fine 15 for around $100. But why not get VF? That's going to be a much more easier to liquidate grade of this coin later on when you decide to sell it. And more than likely, a lot of these coins will appreciate in value over the course of the next 5, 10, 20 years. We got a few left, and again, more of the usual suspects. How about 31S? This is a low mintage, just gauntlet. You gotta own one of these in your collection. And I'm happy to say, much like that 1909 we talked about, a lot of these are going to end up in much higher condition than what you would expect because they were hoarded. People knew that these were going to have a mintage of under 1,866,000 to be exact, and everybody bought them. And that's why there is a large population of these in mint state red for under $500 today. But if again, we're trying to stay within budget here, $100. This 31S grades out PCGS AU58. I mean, it's beautiful. It's got some wood graining on there. This is going to be a coin that you'll have no problem selling later on. This one ended up selling for $114.38. Boom. And we're going to throw a really fun one in the mix. How about 1950? Now, this is not a standard business strike Lincoln. This is actually a proof. Would you believe that? A proof Lincoln on the list. This is a very early date proof coin. As a matter of fact, the mintage comes out to, what, 51,386. And that is scarce. Man, that is so scarce. This one is very attractive. It does exhibit a little bit of cameo frost on the obverse. You can see that on Lincoln's profile there. But there's not enough cameo to designate it as that, as a graded coin. But, man, Proof 66 red. I mean, just look at that picture of that coin in that PCGS holder. That is a stunner. You can even go, if you want something a little bit older in a proof Lincoln, you could probably also do 1942. You'll be around $100 to $125 on a proof 65 of that coin, but that's also another alternative. This particular example is clean, and it's sold for $89.74. Just a really fantastic looking coin. And again, this is a sleeper. On the list. You guys probably think, oh, where's the 1914D? Well, yeah, you can't really get a wholesome coin for around $100. You're going to be looking at about $150 to $200 for just maybe a VG8, which is a very common grade. There is a bunch of them that graded out at that level. So it's not nearly as special enough. Yeah, it's a key date. I think the 31S is a much better place marker because it does have a mintage under $1 million. Plus, you can just get a very, very nice, very meaty example of that coin. But there's a couple pictures, or there's a picture of a couple of coins that I have that I just grabbed out of the closet. This is an example of what you can find out there. The 1897 Mint State 63 Brown I bought at a local coin shop for $55. So that was a heck of a deal. And the 1853 AU55 coin that you see there, I bought on Great Collections about a year ago for what I have to say is about $85. And come to find out that 53 is a repunch date. So winner chicken dinner. Just a really, really cool couple coins there. And I got like plenty more. I got a whole bunch of like Mid-State 64 Browns of Indian heads. I got more of these braided hairs. I got a few of the Matron heads and all that stuff. Just really cool. But yeah, that's going to go ahead and do it for us, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you guys got a little bit of like, kind of like idea of what you could get for $100. It's really not a big budget. I mean, if you really wanted to stretch to 150, you could get some really neat quality coins, as you can see. But that's going to go ahead and do it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Sorry to keep this video so long. I know you guys, a few of you like this. But, yeah, that was a lot of fun to talk about, to be able to talk about the passion for some older coins. And it couldn't be any more reasonable to pick some up, but I would act now. You guys take care.